Oscar, Doria, Meghan and Marcus Anderson. A dirty plan to blackmail the royal family. Poor Harry's face says it all. Hello and welcome to our Princess Diana News YouTube channel. To be honest, the whole story starts with the fact that Samantha Markle was not invited to her sister's wedding. Now, the truth is, no one in Meghan's family was invited, except of course her mother, Doria, who has an interesting and controversial background. Even Meghan's own father was ruled out. Probably because she didn't want to risk him talking to the royals and Harry and telling them about Meghan's complicated past. So who did Meghan decide to invite to her wedding? Well, he invited some famous people he didn't even know, including those he believed could boost his fame, and he couldn't let any of his family members go to his spectacular wedding because they were all known. Well, I believe that Doria was involved in the plot to get Harry married, and it was a plot that was hatched at the 2017 Toronto Invictus Games. Well, that's good. I know what you're thinking, that I'm crazy, but just look at the pictures and look at the body language and I think you'll know what I'm talking about. You might be wondering why Harry looked so upset seeing Meghan and her friends at the game. I mean, if he loved her that much, he'd probably be happy to see her. If Harry really loved Meghan, he would never have ended their sexual relationship at Soho House, and Meghan would never have ruined the wedding. There is a photo that clearly shows Meghan kissing Harry so passionately, but her hands are kept on top of him. Why exactly? Well, I think somebody knows that. I think Marcus Anderson knows that, Doria knows that. Of course, they were also invited to a lavish wedding that cost at least $35 million. Where Meghan can discuss her narcissism, pettiness and jealousy, her first marriage and how it destroyed the family. It is also known about Meghan's past as a yacht girl and senior escort. Meghan never became an actor. Sue was going to turn down the role of Meghan, and there was nothing to look forward to after that. It was known that Meghan failed her diplomacy exam so she could work abroad during term time. Meghan majored in drama at Northwestern University, but she didn't take part in any plays or musicals while in college, and who knows what Meghan Markle did to her sorority sisters that resulted in her being kicked out of the sorority at the 2020 Undefeated Games. 17. Meghan and Marcus Anderson sat in seats that didn't fit them. They were supposed to be given to someone else, so they got kicked out, and her boyfriend Harry didn't get them. Great spot for that evening. Well, of course not, because the truth is Harry wasn't Meghan's boyfriend yet. The next night, Harry and Marcus Anderson got into a heated exchange involving Doria. After sharing a suite at the Invictus Games, Harry began to grow closer to Meghan. But Harry wasn't exactly happy. Harry just gave in and Jessica Maroney laughed with her best friend Meghan, and then Marcus finished Harry's threat. So Harry finally caved and Meghan won that night, with a little help from her friends and mother, of course. I always wonder what they think of Harry. How dirty is it worth it in the long run? Harry has had a miserable life for the past few years, and I'm not even talking about what he's done to his family. If Harry and his family stay with him as usual, then I think they'll be fine. They can tell the story and maybe Harry will get bad press in a year or two, but that's okay too. He would stay behind the scenes and come back to his life. The wedding was just a social event for Meghan, and I've always been curious about what happened after he signed the marriage certificate. Did he shed tears of joy? Well, I don't know how he would happily hand over all the power in the relationship to Meghan. I suspect Harry realized that day that he had sold his soul to the devil. Would the wedding really have been called off if Samantha had been invited along with Thomas Markle and other relatives? A lot of weird stuff would have been filled and cleaned up if Markle Jr. and Thomas Markle Sr. were around. I mean, even Doria's loved ones know a lot about Meghan and the people inside her, which is why she didn't invite any of them. Only a drug dealer and a prostitute who disappeared from Meghan's life for 7 years were allowed in. So why only her, and why is Doria still the only member of Meghan's family in her life? Meghan has cousins. He has uncles, aunts, sisters, and a father. All these people love him, but he wants nothing to do with them. It's no exaggeration to say that Meghan has a lot of skeletons in her closet, and I don't think she's in any danger of being a royal. Find out about all those skeletons and the whole wedding cancellation. This marriage gives Meghan a title and a future far beyond that of an actress who goes into her 40s and still doesn't find success. Samantha was definitely not invited. Meghan thought it was too dangerous. Meghan's siblings, Samantha and Thomas Jr. They try to make a sound, but Samantha is accused of insanity and some of her actions. I have to admit that it didn't help that I showed up at the gates of Buckingham Palace and created a scene asking to see Meghan. I think she was just distraught at the time and trying to be a fighter for someone who was seriously offended. With her entire family arrested, she tries to fight back, only to be fueled by media slurs, and the same thing happened to Thomas Jr. The letter he wrote to Harry warning him about Meghan should stay put. Of course, it was leaked to the media and his credibility was attacked due to his past drug use and time in prison. But it doesn't matter what they did in the past. You were honest, they are right. It's nice that now when we see pictures of Harry after signing the marriage certificate, they all justify themselves to me. This tells you everything you need to know. When people shed tears of joy, their eyes are filled with joy. I mean, even the tears are clear, but Harry doesn't look happy. He looks downcast and you can see Meghan Markle standing next to him. He looks like a winner. He looks sly. He looks bad. There is no expression of love or devotion on his face. Only victory. After I saw how miserable Harry was at his own wedding, I thought someone was holding him back for a reason, and I still feel that way. I think Harry was blackmailed and I wonder if the anger in the royal family is because they didn't do it or if it was self-inflicted and whatever the problem was. And what really upsets me is that someone named Harriet and Toronto gave so many details and names. He even said that Harry would never marry Meghan because Meghan was unsuitable. And then Harry came out with this statement and called out to the media. If he leaves his girlfriend alone, everything shuts down, and soon the internet purge begins. Comments were banned for simply telling the truth and were targeted by Meghan and Harry trolls. And now years have passed and we have to go through many things. I don't think I've ever seen a more unhappy groom. I mean, he looked so sad that I thought he could pull it off, and Marcus Anderson was a very questionable character. I mean, out of nowhere, he became one of the heads of the Soho house. He is very calm now. Why don't we hear about the rumors in Canada that he is Prince Andrew's son? I wonder if Meghan has a common thread with the gate crash, and I suspect her close relationship with Skip was the reason she wasn't kicked out when she crashed at her wedding. Harry even kicks her out when she shows up at a polo match with Archie in her arms. Now, other members of the royal family were also in attendance, including Catherine. I think Doria raised her, but not for free milk. She taught him to be a liar. Artist Harry's disappearance began when he met Meghan Markle and is now under her control. Look at his life now, in a house in California, with an unloved wife and 2 invisible children who, if real, will grow up with extremely dysfunctional parents, large and isolated from their extended family. I don't think Harry will ever be happy until he leaves here. Meghan returned to her homeland, apologized to her family, and offered some helpful advice. I want Meghan to pick her up, I want her to get paid nothing, I want her reputation to be ruined. Harry is definitely his worst enemy, but he's also selfish. Well, at the end of the day, I've said a lot of bad things about him, but I really feel bad for him because he's mean and vengeful and needs to be locked up before he destroys other people's lives. How did you find our news today? Please let me know in the section below. If you like our video, don't hesitate to send it to your friends and relatives who will love it too. Don't forget to subscribe to Princess Diana's news channel for more videos from our team. Thank you very much for your attention. I will see you again in the next video. Goodbye.